Afternoon. How are you all doing? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. Afternoon, Fletch, Danny, Paul, FTNet. How are we doing? There's never anybody in here on a Wednesday because it's the US session and no one ever comes to the US session anymore. They've all left me. People said they wanted me to do another afternoon session for the US. So I do one. There's 9 people. No one turns up. Afternoon, Virginia. How are we all doing? Afternoon, Ryan. David is here. Americans love. There we go. See, the love is coming. Thank you, David. Very much appreciated for the $10. America loves and misses the goat. There we go. So I'm back. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Hello, Professor Kruder. Hello. I don't know if my counter's broken, but there must be more than 9 people in here because I think there's 9 people who've already said hello. Anyway, so yeah, Wednesday. Markets just opened. Let's get rid of that a minute. Markets just opened and we are not quite short on the NASDAQ. So very close to getting an entry on the NAS there. No entry on the Dow. Pre-market range is too small. So we'll see where we go with that one. Hopefully I'll get an opening range break on that. Terrible breaks this morning on the FTSE and the DAX, both hedged. Not getting any range at the moment, so we got a 1 hour move to the upside. We've just moved down 1 hour on the DAX, and that's it. So we've had a 2 hour on the opening range movement, but no direction. Same with the FTSE. We pushed up just about 1 ADR. We managed to get 2 ADR to the downside, but straight back up again. So nasty whipsawy range bound day today so far. So hopefully we get some movement this afternoon. I'm just going to move my targets on the DAX. I was waiting to see what happens, but going to move targets down to propulsion gap fill. There's a long way to go on the DAX, isn't there? So it looks like we've tapped into the monthly low. So if we break that monthly low, we're likely to get a flush down. So I'll take that 5R to the downside on the DAX. FTSE. Just gonna leave it at 5R and ADR to the downside. So see if we can get some movement on those. But so far today, absolute rubbish. So short Nasdaq. Right. Hello, everybody else. Free AGB morning, Mumo afternoon. How we doing? Right, so we've had CPI today, so we'll wait and see what happens with these range breaks. We've got another 2.5 minutes. I'll come back to those in a sec. Overnight news, nothing much to report. The only thing that's really impacted today, or well, not impacted so far, but the only thing that really has happened overnight is the wage price index for the Aussies, which came out as forecast. Well, it wasn't forecast, it was as before, which was slightly lower than forecast, but didn't really do anything. CPI, we've obviously just had in. All CPI numbers for the US have come out on target, spot on exactly where they thought everything was going to be. So not a massive amount of movement there either. We've got Bullock speaking later, and we've got the Aussie unemployment tomorrow morning. But other than that, overnight, there wasn't a lot else. US dollar yen, we've had some movement to the upside of 155. So we just tapped into that 155 level this morning during Asia, which has been rejected. So I did post this in the Telegram group, but this US dollar yen, the higher this thing goes, the more it gets closer to the origin of the intervention move, the more likelihood is that the yen are going to press the button again and second intervention is going to come. So we will see what happens. But we're sort of tapping into this area at the moment, which is where we're getting this rejection at the 155 price point. So we'll see. But yeah, bit of a squeezy move happening on the end to the upside. Other than that, not a lot else overnight. ECB came out and said that there's more cuts coming. Kashkari is speaking at the moment. Let's just see what he's saying. Confidence in inflation is heading in the right direction. Not ready to say inflation is stuck above 2%. Not yet seeing a lot of surprise inflation, upside inflation risks. The bigger risk is getting stuck, which is what everybody else seems to be doing at the moment. So that makes sense. But Trump's coming back. So likelihood is that will change. Got 1 minute to go. ADRs so far today. No ADR hits. So the Aussie moves overnight didn't do anything. CPI so far, as you can see from the US, hasn't done anything. We've had a couple of weeklies hit. It is only Wednesday, so there's opportunities for mean reversion on euro pound. So that is a weekly range hit to the upside, so potential for a push back down again there. I'm interested in a short. I want it a little bit more extended, so I'd like it to get back up into this area here ideally, and I'll be interested in shorting that. Pound CAD, I'm long already, so this was a weekly range hit, but it was also an RSI extension to the downside, so I took first long on that yesterday, looking for a push back up into there. And pound US dollar, I think I'm long that as well. No, not long that, but that is also extended to the downside, so potential mean reversion opportunity there. But not a lot else really moved this week. This week's dead at the minute. Very little RSI action, very little ADR action this week. We've got 3 weekly ranges hit. It's a bit of a dead week at the moment. What was that? Oh, I was running a test. Okay, so I was just testing a strategy out. I'll shut that. So yeah, nothing much else happened really. Let's see what the breaks are doing. So NASDAQ opening range, basically just a small push up. Dow, absolute doji on the Dow. Looks like that one wants to break short as well. Dow's going short. Or trying to anyway. So just going to watch this gap fill. If it does break short. NASDAQ looks like it's going to potentially hedge. Not a lot going on, is there? Just got a beauty product ad. Very nice. They definitely hit their right target group there. Yeah, perfect. Pretty much 90% male audience. Let's show some beauty ads. It is Christmas though. They're not targeting the females, they're targeting the men. That's why they're doing it. Another aggressive control failure on US CAD. I haven't looked at that after the CPI. Oh, blimey, that's gone, isn't it? Yeah. Big upside move on US dollar CAD. So where is that off to? There's clear air basically now. We're breaking this high, which is from 2022. So this is out into new highs now. I mean, there's clear air. Literally clear air. This is COVID. So we're basically all-time highs, US dollar CAD. So we'll see if it's an exhaustion move. So when you get into all-time highs and they become false breakouts, you tend to get an exhaustion move, and then the exhaustion move fails and it collapses. So it's either that or it's not. But yeah, another big push on US dollar CAD there. What's it done? It's only 81 of its weekly range, so it's got more upside potential as well. Big push. Right, let's see what these indices are up to. So nothing's triggered on the Dow yet. Really not looking like it's going to break anywhere today, is it? So today we're going to go through all the pairs, have a quick look through everything, see where everything is. I took some exposure yesterday. I posted this in the group. Took 3 trades. Aussie CAD was a H1 RSI extension, and it was also an ADR, I think. Yeah, that was also an ADR. Not quite. It was about an ADR. It was just shy of an ADR. So nice weekly level coming up there. And yeah, there's this sort of multiple bottom forming here at the moment. And we've got that little low there. So looking for a pullback up into propulsion on that. Let me just stick my TP in place, which is up there. Aussie US was the other long that I took. That's going into drawdown at the moment, but target is going to be up in propulsion on that one as well. Not really a lot of support coming up on that until we get back down to this area here. So somewhere in that region, around about 200. So a couple of ADR to the downside before we're hitting anything that sort of could act as a really decent support area. So we'll just see if that just flip-flops around. But got a long on that off of the RSI extension on the hourly yesterday. And the other one obviously was the pound CAD, which was a long. So just looking for that to push back up into there. So those are the 3 entries I took yesterday, or rather the EA took yesterday, but nothing much else happening. Dow's triggered a long trade. Nasdaq short. Afternoon, CK. How we doing? So for tomorrow's live streams, member stream, I haven't actually got anything planned for tomorrow. So I'm building out a EA. I have actually built out the EA we discussed in the members group in Discord. I've built out that EA for the pound yen. Doesn't work. It does work. That's not really true. It does work, but it's not very good. And I'll show you why. It's basically curve fit. So I'm going to quickly cover that. But I'm also building a breakout EA at the moment, which I've been working on, which is a daily strategy. So we're going to develop the breakout EA tomorrow morning. So if you're interested in that, come along. If you've been coming into the members streams, we've been monitoring the 3 new strategies that I've been working on, which is this one here, which was the fib, it's a pullback strategy. So that's only been going for a couple of days. It's not really done much yet. It's kind of at break even at the moment. The other one, which is the lazy trader EA, which is the quick pullback EA, that's not doing bad. Kind of ignore the percentage gains because these are just using fixed lot at the moment to identify whether they hit targets and things. So don't worry too much about money. It's more about strike rate is what I'm interested in at the moment. That's got 2 on at the moment. Just looking for pullback exit on that one and the pound Swiss. And the other one, which was the super overnight scalper that lasts for 2 hours, said one good day and one bad day. So we'll see what the next day is like. But yeah, these are all live testing. These are strategies we've been developing in the members streams, which are now on forward test because we've got good back test results with them. So obviously these need time to play out, but we'll be looking at these again in tomorrow. We'll have a look at how these have performed tomorrow as well. Dow, what a mess today. Nasdaq's just not going anywhere. Dow is looking like it wants to go long. But yeah, bit of a slug today, isn't it? Yeah. Afternoon, Crom. Right, so we're going to go through all the pairs today, have a look at where everything is, see if there's any decent setups coming. So for those of you that don't know, if you're new to the stream or haven't been in before, For the position trader EA, which is the main strategy that I trade, I'm using swaps basically now to determine direction, because I've identified on my analysis over the last 6 months or so that the swap fees I've been paying are hideous. So if anything has got a very large swap over $5, I'm not trading it at the moment because it's just costing too much money. I lost 32 grand in swaps over the last quarter, and it's too much money to hemorrhage basically. So I'd rather take less entries in line with decent swap costs than struggle and fight swap, because swap is so high at the moment because of interest rates. It's become basically a little bit of a filter for me. Directional bias on most pairs at the moment is neutral because everybody is either dropping interest rates or has dropped interest rates sufficiently to get inflation under control and is now stabilizing interest rates. So from a interest rate perspective, which is what is one of the big drivers of price direction, they're kind of all stabilizing now. The only fly in the ointment is the US dollar, because obviously we've got Trump coming in the next couple of months, and he's going to make some big economic decisions, which is going to start to impact everybody from a trade perspective. So where we've been focused for the last 18 months on interest rate direction, it's less important now. Inflation is still key, obviously. We still need to keep a very close eye on what the inflation figures are doing, because that is going to determine whether they need to rise or drop interest rates. But interest rates, I think, are down to where they're probably going to stabilize a bit now. I don't think we'll see much more than 1% deviation on these rates over the next year. So we're talking getting down to 3.75 in the UK, 3.75 New Zealand, 3.75 US. If they need to raise them, yes, but more likely everybody will still look to try and drop these by up to 1% over the coming year, if that. It's all going to depend on inflation. So inflation is stabilizing at the 2% mark, which is where we want it to be. Excluding the US is at 2.6. You can't see because they're behind my head, but the US is at 2.6, which is slightly higher than where they want it to be. So there's still more room to move on that before they can drop interest rates. So more stable interest rates means neutral currency. So all currencies basically at the moment, there's no reason why any one should be much stronger than any other, unless there's some fundamental changes. So we'll see what happens. Nasdaq's dropping, not much. Dow's stuck. God, what a crap market today. Look, 20 minutes in, we haven't gone anywhere. This was very much like this yesterday. We had a really grindy market, and then it sort of decided to take off. So we ground around for ages, and then we moved. So we did actually get going eventually after about an hour or so, and it looks like it's going to be another one of those days today. But we'll wait and see. So if there's any pairs you want to look at in any more detail, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to whiz through all the pairs, because there's no signals from ADR. There's no signals from RSI today to look at of any strength. So we'll just have a look at everything and see if we've got any decent support resistance levels. So at the moment, because I'm being strangled a little bit by direction on swaps, I'm going to be looking on some instruments for support resistance bounce plays. Just to get into initial trades at support, basically in line with the directional bias of the swap. So I'll be keeping an eye on. I mean, anything that's basically got a swap either way, which is good, I'll just let the EA do its thing. So the EA will just get me in on RSI extensions and ADR extensions. Anything that's got a single direction swap like this one, where we got swap longs making us money, swap shorts costing us a fortune, I only want to go long. So I'll be looking for market structure pullbacks to try and get into long trades. So maybe looking at the weekly high area there, which is a support turned resistance accumulation. So looking for that propulsion gap around about ADR for a long, that sort of thing. So but EA obviously can still get me in on ADRs, but I'll still take some manual trades if I see something good. So we'll whiz through these. I'm just keeping an eye on what's going on. The Nasdaq's dropping quite nicely. Dow's not. Well, it is, but it's not. So see if we get a clean break on that to the downside today, which will be good. Afternoon, Nav. I am getting commercial every 5 minutes. I've turned the ads back on. Shouldn't be getting them that regularly. Every 5 minutes. If they're becoming a pest, I'll turn them off. Nice to make a bit of side income, maybe 20 quid a month or something like that. But yeah, I accidentally put them back on last week. Not accidentally, they changed the interface basically. When you go to set up a stream, it used to say you used to be able to just repeat a stream. Now when you do it, you've got to basically go through the whole, do you want ads? If so, do you want these types? Do you want that? You have to go through a load of stupid hoops now. So I just basically clicked through it. I've no idea what I've set up, but I've obviously set it up on show them an ad every minute. So I will change that. What I was trying to do was get the little ads that appear on the right hand side when you're watching a video. You got ads up there. That's what I was trying to get turned on because they don't interfere with anything. But if it's too intrusive, I'll turn it off. I can't do it now because it's in the middle of the stream. I need to finance my Christmas shopping. Yes. No, we're having a frugal year this year. Trading profits are down. Present buying is down. That's what happens. Dow's mucking about. So I'm just trying. I've got another account I'm trading on over here, which I'm just adjusting some trades on. So I've just set the Dow up to take a break of that range, just so I can let it run and let it go. Because this thing's just being a pest today, isn't it? Right, Aussies. So Aussie dollar CAD at the moment, we're kind of down at the lows on RSI. Obviously, we've had a multi-day drop on that one. So I've got long on already yesterday from the RSI extension. So looking for a push back up into propulsion. So 50% retracement on that leg if it's going to continue that way. If it's going to be a V-shaped recovery, I'm out there anyway. So looking for that move at the moment to the upside. Downside, we've got support coming up at a weekly low. My next long is there, which means I'll be getting in somewhere before we hit the monthly low bounce. So it's either going to continue down and I'll have a second position on down here and get out on the pullback, or it's just going to hit that level and bounce off and come back up. So long on that at the moment. It's very up and down at the moment. The Aussie CAD not really got any directional bias. So obviously we've had all this extra volatility put in about the election, but when you look at what it really does on a daily basis, it's not an awful lot. It just pushes and pulls nicely all the time. So yeah, just looking hopefully for it to go long. If it doesn't, I'll scale into a long. Aussie dollar Swiss at the minute sideways. I haven't got the EA set up to trade any Swiss or yen automatically. If I do get into anything, it's going to be a decision I'm going to make manually. I'm only looking to long Swiss against the Swiss franc and against the yen. So I would never short against the Swiss or short against the yen because the cost of doing business is far too high and they're safe haven currencies. So if there is going to be a safe haven run, they will go down and I will get out when they get out of the safe haven position. So just watching these at the moment. Weekly range hit on Euro US. So coming down, we've just hit the weekly range on that one. So there's your weekly high. So that's the average weekly range hit. So look for signs of a pullback on that. Got a level coming up down here. Very, very old though, that. We've just broken that monthly. Well, yeah, it is an old monthly, but really old low back from April. So flush down potentially into there. Very big, strong move that as well. So this US is powering up by the looks of things. So Aussie dollar Swiss sideways at the minute. So as you can see, we've obviously had the intervention move on that one with the yen. We pulled back and we've been basically sitting around doing virtually nothing since. So you can see the last month's and the 2-month highs and lows here. We're just bang in the middle of the range. Just nothing to do with it at the moment, sitting there. So, oh my God, I bet that Dow's just triggered me into a hedge, isn't it? Yes, look at that. Literally tapped me there to the pip long, tapped me there to the pip short. Absolute whipsaw today. Nice clean break on the NAS though. So just going to hold the NAS and try and get profit on the NAS to pay for the hedge. Just watching that over there because it just missed my entry. Literally, it missed my entry by that much. So I knew it had been hedged. Anyway, deal with those in a minute. Aussie dollar Swiss. Yeah, so not really going anywhere. We're bang in the middle of a range. There's no point in taking trades from the middle of the range. It's going to do that or that. So looking for it to push down or up and then look for some opportunities to get in there. For me, I'll only be getting in on shorts, on longs, basically when it gets short. So yeah, at the moment it's on its way on RSI on the 4-hour. Hourly, it's also starting to dip down. So if we could get down below this low, which we're trying to break out of today, we got this level here, which is going to be the next support to the downside. And then these two big propulsion gaps. So this is where they initially started the long move, bought it back twice. So that is probably going to be your strongest area of support. So if we can get down to there, I'll be interested in a long. But at the moment, it's just stuck in the middle of nowhere. Yens, I'm long only, but very concerned about another intervention move. If this dollar is powering up again on this news, there's a chance this is going to push back above that 150 level. I suspect if we do that, we're going to get the Japanese starting to moan. We haven't heard anything from the Japanese overnight, but we did have a report saying there's a heightened chance of intervention, obviously, because we are pushing. So all the yen pairs are in the same boat. Since we had the intervention, need to go out to the 4-hour. So since we had the intervention, all we've done is move and sit. So market really not sure what to do with the Japanese yen anymore. It looks to me, based on most of the yen pairs, like they are trying to use this as a carry trade still, which is the way it's always been. You always buy against the yen because the swaps are as they are. The interest rates differentials are always massive. So it's been a carry trade. By literally pressing the buy button, you get paid to trade. So banks and institutions have been doing that for decades. However, now we've changed interest rates on the yen for the first time in 2 decades. We've now got positive interest rates. So I don't think the market really knows at the moment what to do with this because it's always been buy it. Now it's not. So yeah, it's sitting around at the minute doing very little. So I'm not really interested in any yen trades. If you look at all the yens, it's very much the same at the moment. Does look weak still, not massively though. So it's at the moment, it's this double-edged sword with the yen. You kind of want to buy it because that's what it's likely to do. But the further it goes, broker calling, the further it goes, the more likely the Japanese are to intervene and do that again. So, or start a second leg of it. So I'm really not interested in yens at the minute. But as you can see, they are very range bound. So, you know, week after week after week, we don't get very much further than the highs before we back down. So looking at weekly high-low bounces, that is at the moment kind of the play. And you should be able to really, as long as it continues to trade like this, get out of any weekly high that you short and any weekly low that you long. But at some point it is going to break. Yeah, so there's exactly example of that trade. Yeah, so I took a short at the weekly high, it pushed up, got out as it rejected a couple of weeks later, but the cost of that trade was immense. So how much did I set my max swap to? $5. But what I'd suggest you do, if you're going to use the swap filter, your broker's not going to be the same as my broker. Unless you're using my broker, exactly my broker with exactly my account and everything, you're not going to get the same swaps as me exactly, but they'll be roughly the same. So have a look at what yours are. I just set it at $5 because I've gone through I've just literally just deleted the spreadsheet this morning. I've gone through my last quarters. Went through through this year basically, but I went through my last quarter in detail, looking at every trade and the duration of every trade and the swap cost on every trade. And I came out of that with, holy crap, these were expensive to hold. Then I looked at what the swaps were on them, and anything that was over $5 in swap was the holy crap, this is expensive to hold type trade. Anything under $5, still a bit expensive, but not ridiculous. Yeah, so I'm talking holding a position for 4 to 6 weeks and having to pay $3,000-4,000 for the privilege. Not interested, because it means that when I have an average price of here, for example, when price gets to my average price, I'm still a few $1,000s in drawdown because I've got to pay the swap. So I've set it at 5, but that's me. Set it at what you want. Also, you might want to consider how it's going to affect your trading, because you're going to have instruments like, for example, pound New Zealand. For me, I can't trade it because the swap long and the swap short are $8 to $10. I'm not interested in paying $8 to $10 to hold a position. So it's off the table basically. Pound New Zealand, I'm not trading it. So you want to look at it. You don't want it to completely strangle your trading, but equally it's a massive consideration now because of the the interest rate differentials, which I haven't been paying attention to. So I am now. Swiss yen almost back to intervention level. Obviously the Swiss and the yen moved together. Yen has been weak, Swiss has been doing okay. So this is the one that is all the other yens have kind of done that. This seems to be much more bullish at the moment. So again, looks good for longs. Wouldn't want to short it, but if the yen intervention happens again, I don't really want to be long on it. So I'm better off staying out. I'm running another strategy at the moment, which is using a stop loss on all yen pairs. So I'm happy to get in with a stop because if the intervention comes, I'm not going to hemorrhage. So I'm fine with that. Euro yen, same sort of thing. We just basically are back sitting around. So we sit around for 2 or 3 weeks. We have a move on news. We sit around for 2 or 3 weeks. We'll have a move, but the move will be based on what news that gets. My God, this DOW is stuck fast. We're inside the pre-market range at the moment. Look, we haven't even got out. NASDAQ break short is just struggling as well. It's the same grindy day as we had yesterday. It's not nice. So DOW, 5R is within ADR. 5R to the upside is yesterday's high. So I'll stick with that for the hedge. Nothing I can do with it today. Crappy day today. Euro yen, sideways. Pound yen, very much sideways again. So we're sitting around weeks. News, sit around. News, that was the budget. Sit around. Yeah, so it's not going anywhere. The yen seems to basically be just fighting back against any move that it gets. So we are literally just sitting. This is look at this monthly range. That is the monthly range. Shocking. Can't do anything with it. Short the highs, buy the lows. Just keep doing that at the minute, but at some point it's going to break out. So it'll be the time you short the high, and that's when it'll break out. Just gone short the Dow, so the Dow's broken short. So watching the CPI fill. Also, that's yesterday's high, which we may find limit orders triggering at as well. Keep an eye on that. Nice break on the NASDAQ. So yeah, that's all your yen pairs done. As I say, I'm just not really trading at the moment. This is the one that you want to be keeping a close eye on, this 150 level. Oh, sorry, 155, not 150. Yeah. So obviously market works in round numbers. 150 was the previous intervention level the previous 2 years. We broke that. The 155 is where they started moaning. This is where we are now. The 160 level is where they said, if you push us any further, we're going to kill you. And they did. And they always do. They do what they say, but at least they let us know. At the moment, they're not moaning, but if we break above that level, they will. So that's where you want to start building your short positions. Anything above there. But it could be weeks before they press the button, if they press the button. Yeah, it's too many unknowns with the yen at the moment, so it's better to sit on your hands and trade everything else. Aussie, New Zealand, going back to the rest of the Aussies. Aussie, New Zealand, we've been sitting around for weeks on. It had an RSI extension there on Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah, yesterday. That was also an hourly. So there was a long opportunity yesterday on it out of this kind of weekly low. Wasn't very good. It's coming down and rejected yesterday's low and the weekly low again today. So it doesn't look like it wants to go any lower at the minute. We've got lots of news on the Aussie this week. So we had the wage price index this morning, which drove it down, but really didn't do anything. We've got Bullock speaking later this evening, an hour after the swap. And then we've got the unemployment rate coming out tomorrow, which is meant to be stable. If unemployment goes up, that will put further pressure on dropping interest rates. We have just had really good inflation figures for the Australians. So CPI is now down to 2.1. It came down by 0.6%, massive drop. And they haven't changed their interest rates for 18 months. So there is a massive pressure now, because we're close to target, on them dropping interest rates. So if unemployment goes up, that is a reason to drop interest rates. So that figure tomorrow, if it comes out higher than anticipated at 4.2, or even potentially if we get a 4.1, they may turn around and go, we need to get on top of this. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So I'm just about to hit target on the NASDAQ. So, whoa, hang on, shit. Sorry, I've got a load of profit. Just moved my Dow to break even and close the NASDAQ. Just see if we get this target hit. So we're just coming off yesterday's low here. Limit orders are triggering. Yeah, I'm going to shut that. I'm getting out there at yesterday's low just because I can. Banks me £550, and the hedge I've got on is 330 or 340 on the Dow, so I've just cleared 200 profit basically. So we'll see if we can deal with this hedge, but it's got to move basically somewhere, and at the moment it doesn't seem to want to go much further. So I think I'm going to get stopped out on that, but anyway. Euro US dollar 125 monthly has just been hit. So there's your monthly range just gone. So that's the high of the month. So that's 125% of the normal monthly range of euro US dollar has just been hit there. Obviously, bear in mind, a lot of that was the election. So this move here was a lot, 250. So this was about a 2.5, 3 ADR move. So although this is triggering as a monthly range hit, obviously we've had 2 ADR on that. So just be careful. Trying to jump in on that one. Aussie, New Zealand. So yeah, that one's coming off the lows quite nicely at the moment. Very, very sideways Aussie, New Zealand at the minute. But bear in mind, if we do get that negative move on the Australian tomorrow, this is coming down. So you've got a fairly nice propulsion gap, which has kind of been added into a couple of times, coming up at 150 ADR. Just been stopped out the Dow. It's just come straight back up again. Break even. So yes, flip-flop. Not really anything to do with that at the moment. But I really want to see what happens with that unemployment, because that will give us a really good gauge as to whether the Aussies are going to drop rates. And as it's going to be their first interest rate drop, we'll probably see the market sell into the Australian dollar for a good 2 or 3 weeks. So I'd be cautious about taking longs. I'm not taking longs anyway on this because the swaps are too expensive. I'm going short only on Aussie New Zealand. So any kind of pushes to the upside, I'll be interested in shorting. So something like that, but not looking for longs at the minute. Aussie US, got along on that one at the moment. US dollar's obviously rallying like a lunatic at the moment. So second entry on that will go in possibly even today. So yeah, propulsion gap. It's not really a propulsion gap. It's part of that V-shaped recovery there. But this low here is potentially bounce point. So next entry is going to go in somewhere around here. We've got a very strong sort of week and a half drop that we've had on this. It's not even a week and a half, is it? It's less than that. But yes, I'm looking for a pullback on that, basically. So second entry will go in today if we push down to ADR. So if we get down into this area, I'll be getting second entry on today, and just look to get out on a pullback on the current leg. So that's looking good for longs. CAD Swiss, might as well just rattle through the Swiss francs because they're very, very much the same as the Japanese yen. Very, very, very sideways at the moment, the Swiss franc. It's all gone very, very quiet with what's going on in the Middle East and Gaza, everywhere. It's just gone quiet everywhere, isn't it? With what's going on with the wars. So the thing I was concerned about with the Swiss franc was obviously because it's a safe haven. When you get conflict, you get runs into the Swiss. So at the moment, that's not happening. So it's range bound. So this is a really good spot for a short up here. Again, this is frustrating having this filter here because this looks like a lovely short. However, if this does turn out to break to the upside and come and test that area, it's going to cost me a fortune to sit in this. So I'd rather buy it when it gets down here because I know that's not going to cost me much money to trade. In fact, they're going to pay me to be in the trade. So I'm not really interested in that as a short at the minute. But if you are, take it because it's a lovely quadruple top bounce, basically, potentially. There's no real bias on this. As you can see, it's sideways and it has been sideways since August. So yeah, lovely looking short. You've got a couple of areas of resistance coming up, which potentially will act as a nice second bounce point if it does break, which is 150 ADR and 225 ADR from where we are at the moment. The rest of the yens, the Swiss is, as you say, it's the same thing. Yeah. So I'm looking for longs on this one. So this is actually in a really good spot at the moment. we are just flip-flopping around. There's more ECB rate cuts to come. One more. So if you look at financial juice this morning, Bill Roy came out and said, I expect more ECB rate cuts. So again, bearish for the euro. It's just saying it's going really quiet in the war. Hezbollah has just fired 40 projectiles into Israel. No ceasefire in the north until the war goals are met. So we've got a bit more kicking off over there. So again, another reason this makes this trade dangerous, because obviously if we suddenly get a Swiss franc rally because it's safe haven, we're going to do that, aren't we? So that's probably what that move is that we've just seen go in. You know, it's volatility around what's potentially going on in the Middle East at the moment. Right. So yeah, rest of the Swissies sideways. This is a good looking long here. I'm really tempted to take this. It's not quite extended enough on the hourly RSI. 4 hour, it's not even extended either. However, it is range low. We've got a monthly support coming up at 150 ADR. So this is not a bad looking spot for a long. What I might do is stick a buy stop on this, and trail that buy stop will trail down basically. If this continues to drop, the buy stop will trail it, and then I'll try and get in on a pullback. Target on this at the moment is going to be conservative target somewhere up here, but aggressive target. No reason why we wouldn't stay range bound on it. Afternoon travel. Sorry, I didn't see you coming in there. Dollar off to the moon. Yeah, we'll have a look at the dollar in a sec. So yeah, going to take a long on Euro Swiss. Pound Swiss. Again, sitting around. Yeah, all the Swissies are the same. They're all sitting around. I'm long only trades against the Swiss franc because of swap costs. So I'm looking for support bounces, basically. Anything that gets down at the lows. That's sitting in the middle of the range at the minute. And US dollar Swiss will be taking off. So US dollar Swiss, we got that resistance coming up. So this area here, it's kind of been decent resistance previously and support to the upside. It's a tricky little leg, this, because we had that drop and then the pullback and then that. So it's one of those ones where if you ask 10 people to stick a fib on this, some people are going to put it there. Some people are going to put it there. Some will put it there. Some of them will use that bit. You know, it's just one of those. If it's pulling back and it's going to go short, somewhere around here is a pretty decent pullback level, isn't it? If it's going to drop, but not really interested in shorting that. Want to go long only. So not really anything for me there, but you got this little high coming up. It's not a great level because you've got so many different points on that market structure. So it's the closest high that we're coming back to retest. It may or may not react. Not a great level. Dow Jones back up inside the opening range. That was our venture out today. Got 3 bar reversals going in on NASDAQ and the Dow. Good exit. Can't do anything with it. So those are Swissies. Covered the yens, euros. Need to drink. So at the moment, the euro is very stable. Lagarde has been spot on with everything. Basically, if you wanted the perfect manager of a bank, central bank, it's Lagarde. They brought interest rates down quickly. They've got on top of inflation quickly. Inflation went below the 2% target, has bounced straight back up to hit 2% target with a small change. They're dropping interest rates caught by 0.25% every time. They're getting themselves back to that lovely little sort of somewhere between the 2 to 3% range, which keeps you stable. GDP's doing well. Everything's just going well for Euro. So there's absolutely no reason for the Euro to be massively strong or massively weak. It's just got it right. So this is going to get pushed around at the moment, as it did before, by other currencies. So we are going to still drop the rates on the Euro. We should be seeing it coming down by another 0.5% in the next quarter. So yeah, it will have drops when the interest rates drop, but it will recover after the interest rates have dropped. So market structure will probably be very nice and clean, but more to the downside than the upside on all the Euro pairs. So sitting around basically able to trade this in either direction. For me at the moment though, looking for shorts from a financial perspective. So I'm looking for this to push up. There's a good opportunity maybe to take a short out that propulsion gap if we can get up there. And I'll be looking at double tops. So somewhere up there, RSI extension, ADR hits to the upside. If we get an ADR, so basically what I've got the EA set up to do at the moment is either take RSI extensions above the 70 level or take 125 ADR shorts. So anything that I've got a positive swap on or a decent swap on, if I can get above 125 ADR, I'll get in. Also, if I can get in above the 70, I'll get in on the hourly time frame. So just looking for some movement to get that stretch into the market. But sideways at the minute, very sideways. So not a lot really happening on the 4 hour, but hourly there's plenty of movement intraday going on. So looking for a break above that high basically, and pulling back a little bit more on that leg. This is only a flag break. It's not even a flag break, hasn't really broken. So I suspect we'll probably maybe get a little bit more upside, but that's really going to depend on what happens with the Australian dollar tomorrow morning. So if the Aussie gets negative news and they can bring that interest rate down, we'll be up here. If it doesn't and unemployment drops, it means there's less pressure for them to drop interest rates, which means they can get a much bigger run on inflation, and that will probably come down. So we'll wait and see what happens with the Aussie tomorrow on that one, but right now it's sitting in the middle of nowhere, nothing to do with it. Euro CAD. CAD's pushing hard as well at the moment by the looks of things. So that's coming down, looking for support. We got the initial support bounce off of that level, but it's obviously rallying through it at the minute. So really you're looking at that low, which is about 300 ADR away. So there was a long opportunity there, which you wouldn't have gotten into till there. So if you've taken a long here, you're probably in it to 2 or 3 trades at the moment, looking for it to push back down into there. But this is a big old drop. So this whole move here, we haven't had a pullback on it yet. We had a little bit of a flag break, but that's it. So looking for a correction on that leg. The trouble with this one is you've got this area we've just broken out of. So this is, now that this is pushing down, this is looking like a successful breakout of this area here. So this area here basically was support. We've just broken through it. If it was a failed breakout, you'd see a V-shaped recovery on it, but it's not. It's flagged and broken. So it may come up and retest that area, but likelihood is it's going to be heading down here. So obviously that will be reliant on that US dollar continuing to rally, which helps the CAD out. So we'll see. But Lagarde and obviously Villeroy this morning coming out and saying we're going to keep dropping rates is not going to help the euro. But equally, there's no reason the euro is going to be massively weak either, because it's already done most of its interest rate drop. So this is more likely the price action, but you may get price discovery. So those of you that in the members streams, when we were looking at how the market moves, we use balance. Then we have price discovery. Price discovery either works or it fails. If price discovery works, we find a new area and then we find balance again. And balance tends to be at previous support. So This is the price discovery leg on the way down to here, and then we'll find some support down there. So I want to be taking shorts. So if it does pull back up into this range, I'll be interested in getting in short on it, but not at the moment long. But there is RSI extensions to the downside on this, but it's obviously coming down quite hard. The other thing I'm going to need to confirm this, and there's no way of testing this, unfortunately, but these swap numbers, market does tend to prefer to move in line with them, meaning it's hard to get into trades, because if you want to take short only, you've got to wait for pullbacks. And as you can see, it doesn't really want to. But it's been a short only all that time as well. So this is kind of acting, I think, a little bit like a retail sentiment reading, in that we want to be going with this rather than the opposite, where you go against retail sentiment. So we'll see. I need to confirm it basically, but I have done a little search to see if I could find historic swap figures from brokers, and I can't. It'd be really nice to test whether or not, because I could build a quick indicator to show positive, negative swap values over time, just to see if there's an edge in only going with the weaker swap. Because obviously, don't forget, this is also what the banks and institutions are paying. Yeah, this is just interest rates and interest rate differentials. So this is what the banks pay as well. So it's in their interest not to pay as much fees as possible. Therefore, it's going to be easier to move in that direction in theory, isn't it? But we'll see. Dow's in a good spot for shorts. So if market structure is going to continue today, this is where we'd be looking for a new leg to start. Nasdaq's selling off. Might have a quick short here. I'm just placing a sell stop underneath this low again. Pretty much where my entry is short there. So if this is going to be a pullback short, I'll just get swept in with the next leg down to here. See if it triggers. Right. So that's Euro CAD. Euro Swiss we've covered. Euro Pound really range bound at the moment, always is. So ADR's picked up a little bit on this. So ADRs, we were trading this at sort of 35 to 40s. We're now up to 53. So the volatility's picking up. Afternoon, Roger. Volatility is picking up, but a lot of that is because of the budget. So obviously we've had the new budget come in, and the new budget is going to cost us a fortune. So at the moment, the market reacted negatively to the budget, but it seems to have recovered. So it's difficult to call, really. There's a lot of resistance on the pound to dropping interest rates. So it's kind of a little bit stable, neutral, like the euro. So I wouldn't expect it to do much else. So you're going to get lots of movement on news, but unless that news changes the directional bias, it's just going to be moving spikily. So at the moment, I'm looking for shorts. This is one of those ones that cost me a fortune. This is only a $6.40 swap, but it's expensive. So the holds that I had on this, which lasted for 3 weeks, there was one there and there's another. Yeah, there was one here, wasn't there? Which were 2 week and 3 week, 4 week positions. Swaps were ridiculous. And that was only $6.40. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the things that made my mind up to use $5 as a limit, because the longs on the euro pound trades that I had were amongst the most expensive. So I said, right, anything under a $5, because that was expensive. So I don't want to go above that $5 level. So, so yeah, basically I'm looking for shorts only. So I want it further up. ADR hits to the upside, propulsion gap shorts, RSI extensions, looking for short entries. Euro New Zealand, very sideways. Again, like I said, the euro, not really much reason why we should be pushing or pulling hard in any direction on the euro. So no reason why this can't really be traded in either direction. At the moment, again, I'm looking for shorts only. Swaps are incredibly expensive. Long, so I'll be looking for pushes up into propulsion. ADR hits to the upside, RSI extensions to the north, and looking for movement to the downside. But if you're not worried about swap costs, doesn't really matter. If you're using smaller account sizes, swaps are less important. When you're using bigger account sizes, swaps are very visible. I mean, the swap cost is the same, except obviously the more you are getting on, the more you notice it, basically. So you can trade this in either direction. Lovely bounce we had yesterday, looking like it's going to want to push up into the 150 ADR level, sort of roundabouts, maybe, if it's going to continue a short. This could be a double bottom to form a new range high. Market structure is long, so with long market structure, if you put in a lower high, higher high, double bottom, that's kind of equivalent to a higher low, because it can still bounce off and continue market structure to the upside there. But obviously overall, we are more bearish at the moment on the euro, but ever so slight. So could go either way, really. This thing, look at this NASDAQ. It's untradeable. Look at this price action. It's just utter whipsaw at the minute. Very, very, very nasty market today. I'm lucky to get that out of it today, I think. Euro US dollar, absolutely screaming down at the moment. So this US dollar's obviously got a big rally on. Anything you trade against the US dollar at the moment, or you trade the US dollar against anything at the moment, you're now open to the Trump effect. So if you haven't traded through a Trump presidency, good luck. Every time he tweets, the market goes mental. He's not tweeted much yet, but he will. And he's going to start announcing an awful lot of, I'm doing this. This is not going to happen. You lot need to watch out. And all of that is going to upset the US dollar or rally the US dollar. So there's a lot of volatility coming. The vast majority of Trump tweets are V-shape and A-shape recovery moves. So you get this knee-jerk reaction where you spike up over ADR and then the market goes, what's he on about? And that's what happened the vast majority of the time. Every now and again, he would say something like, we're going to put massive trade sanctions on China. And then the market would be like, yeah. And then he'd come out and say, in December. And it would happen, yeah. And you get the odd move, which actually was changing the direction of the US dollar. But the volatility, you can expect this 94 ADR we're on at the moment in January, February to be sitting at 150. Yeah, because it's just going to upset the market. But it's not a bad thing. Volatility makes us money. We can't make money unless the market moves. Volatility is market movement. So it's good. But directional bias on it, no idea. I've got no idea which way the US dollar is going to go. It's now a new currency, basically. It's got a new boss, and we'll see where it goes. Powell basically has been allowed to keep his job. Not that Trump has got any way of getting him out, because he's got bugger all to do with him, the Fed. However, he can now make laws because he's got control of the Senate. So if he wants Powell out and doesn't like the way he does things, that will happen. So there's so much volatility, and he's just an absolute wild card with a lot of the stuff that he does. Not necessarily bad stuff. It's just unexpected. So just be very careful with US. So if I'm going to get into any squeezes, I'm going to make sure I'm being paid for them. So the US dollar pairs more than anything moving forward over the next 3 to 6 months. Directional bias, no idea. At the moment, the market is very strong, as we know, with the US. And that may well continue, but it may also get very sticky and sideways while he's making decisions, which means we're going to get this sort of movement. But certainly there are some big potential squeeze moves on the US. So we just have to wait and see what happens with it. But right now, from a technical perspective, what goes down usually comes up. So for the Euro US dollar, we've obviously had nothing but a flag break short. So as you can see, I got out of that one there. So I got in over halfway through that move, and it still took 5 positions to get out of it. We've got a huge big drop at the moment, so that is really your line in the sand at 200 ADR from where we are at the moment. So maybe a couple of days, by end of this week, we'll be down there, and then we'll be coming back up. But you know, the market cannot continue in one direction forever. It has to pull back. It has to take profit on the legs that it's put in. Otherwise, there's no point in putting the legs in, because the legs are put in to make money. If you don't take the profit, you don't make money. So it, you know, this is the whole premise of market structure trading, is that's what it does. That's all it does. It always has, and it always will. As long as there's banks, banks make money. As long as banks make money, the market moves up and down. It's never going to go in the same direction for an endless period of time. It's just a case of surviving the squeezes at the moment. So risk low, especially on US dollar pairs. Everything else, not so much, because they're very sideways. But if you're trading against the US dollar, or the US dollar against something else, just be aware that there could be some bigger moves coming in. And like the US dollar CAD, you know, we've seen this thing was just a absolute parabolic move, akin to what we had, and we've had them before. That is what normally happens after them. But we had the parabolic move 3 or 4 weeks before an election, and this is why this is doing this and not doing that, because the election's gone the way of the US dollar. So the fundamentals is what drives the market, and the markets are driven on Trump. So, you know, we're up out of those highs now, but it's utterly exhausted. There's a profit take move there, which is the one that I got out on. But now we're out the highs. So where are we going? We'll have to wait and see. So Euro US dollar, obviously, is the inverse. Euro US dollar is the dollar index upside down. Dow's not doing anything. I'm just going to cancel that pending off. This is just a mess today. So at the moment, obviously, extensions to the downside on the 4 hour on the Euro US, and on the hourly, we've been down there twice. We had that pullback there you could have got out of, but that was the election. So, you know, if you're taking a long against the election move, is very brave. It paid off, but it was very brave. Now this is post-election move. This is US dollar strength coming in, not euro weakness necessarily. That was a valid entry down here, so you'd be in long somewhere around there, but it's too expensive for me to long it, as proven here as well. That trade there, I think, was $700 to hold that for a week and a half. You know, it's just too much money. You don't notice it when you're in individual trades, and if you're in 2 to 3 trades and you're out within a week, you don't notice it very much. But what we're seeing this year, and we've seen a lot recently, is trades taking 3 to 4 weeks. That is when you suddenly notice them, and that's what set my alarm bells off with, why am I finding this so hard to get out now? It's never been this hard to get out. And it's not that I can't get out. I can get back to my break evens, no problem. I just can't get out with profit because the swaps cost too much. So that's why I've made that decision. So, you know, we'll see how it affects. Beautiful ADR reversal coming in at the moment. 5-minute reversal alert has gone in. No, it hasn't, because we haven't. It's just a parabolic move again. Look, straight down into ADR, pulling back. So yeah, nice pullback off of ADR, but no way to get in on a reversal. So you'd have to take price action on that. But yeah, nothing particularly exciting happening on that one. If you're going long, you're probably already in it from after the news. If you didn't get out on that, you're probably in long already. Pound, obviously we know sideways. So pound last entry for me was back here. Nice and easy exit. Broker calling. God, it is as well. Why can't I hang up on my broker? It's an 0800 number. It's always a broker. Sorry. So pound odd at the moment. we've got this high here, which has been acting as previous resistance turned support. We slammed through it, hit it again, come back down. So it does look like it wants to go bear. The pound is very, very difficult to read at the moment. So the budget obviously weakened the pound. However, Bailey is not interested in dropping the interest rates, which kind of strengthens and makes it neutral. So overall, I would say long term, probably more shorts than longs, but either way, really, same as the euro. I think the euro and the pound are very neutral at the moment, and they're going to get buffeted around a lot. So just a case of waiting and seeing. Just putting in a lower high rejection at this level. Just spotted that all the indices started coming down at the same time. So this might be the start of the next sell leg, because we just saw a load of pressure coming in there. If we had tick strike on, you'd hear a load of crickets coming in. Hello, crickets. There they come. Yeah, a lot of big sellers just started entering the market there. I won't keep that on because it's very annoying. So yeah, pound odds. I think you can trade this in either direction at the moment. Obviously, the Australian dollar is going to move the market tomorrow, one way or the other. It's kind of neutral at the moment. You had a long opportunity there last week. And on the hourly, that was also, I didn't quite trigger an entry last week on the hourly, but you can see kind of how neutral it is. There's no relative strength at the moment. It's very, A-shaped recovery, V-shaped recovery type movement. So all of this stuff, doesn't matter which one you get in, you'll just get out. So it's easy to get in and out of. It's just hard to find the entries. So the exits are easy. Just trying to get in is hard because it's not pushing far enough, quick enough. But at the moment, I'm looking longs on this at the minute. So if we get a push down into ADR, last week's low, previous week's low type area, got a nice propulsion gap, which they added into there. Anywhere really in this zone, I'll be interested in longing it back out again. But it's not really going anywhere at the minute. For indices on prop accounts, do you recommend the SIHEA or the original ORB? Up to you. They're both the same strategy. SIH is just a hedge version. Prop accounts you can't hedge on. So if you're trading futures, you can't hedge. So you can't trade the SIH. You can only trade ORB. Load of bulls just come back in the market because I hit the short button. So yeah, you can't. If you're trading on MT4 or MT5, you will be trading CFDs, in which case you can hedge. But if you're trading prop on futures, you can't hedge on futures. It's FIFO. Trump reversal strategy, yeah. So the difficulty with the Trump reversal strategy is you don't know when to reverse it, but you'll get signaled anyway, because what will happen is Trump will tweet and you get this big spike. So ADR reversals on US dollar pairs tend to be really good during Trump. In fact, that's one of the reasons I started looking into ADR reversal strategy. Initially, I was using a stop loss based version of it during the Trump era, because you'd see the market doing normal stuff, and then all of a sudden, for no reason, you'd hit an ADR 125, 150, and you'd be like, what the hell? Trump's just tweeted. Long it. Yeah. And this is your Trumpometer, ADR. Because if you get an ADR, and it's usually a parabolic ADR, you usually hit it like 1 hour candle, ADR. Something really like bang or bang. That's 300 ADR. But something massive like that happens. And it's usually Trump. So you just reverse it. The other thing you've got to bear in mind as well now is Elon Musk has been given a job. He's been given the job of have a look at the government, where it's spending all of its money, and make us some cuts, Elon. So you can be damn sure Elon's going to be tweeting. And now he's got power in government. It's also the tweetometer for Elon Musk. So he did exactly the same with crypto. Yeah, remember when he said we're going to accept Bitcoin for Tesla, and then he turned around and went, nah, fine. Same thing. Same thing. It's just it's a knee-jerk reaction. They both tend to open their mouth before they engage their brain, which is great for market reversals. So, yeah. Maybe right now we see a V shape. I don't know what on. I was probably looking at something completely different when you said that. Afternoon pot DJ, afternoon, evening outro. Yeah, Trumpometer or the Muskometer. I should rename it, shouldn't I? What I should do what everybody else does. I should change the color of the lines on the ADR indicator, change the word ADR to Fed, yeah, and call it the Fed pivot indicator. Re-release it, yeah, under a different name. Does exactly the same thing. The calculation's exactly the same, but I'll just re-release it and everybody will buy it again. And then I'll release another indicator and I'll call it something else, and it'll be the same thing. You can buy it again. I love Forex. Pound CAD, we've covered. I'm long on that already. So that was an H1 RSI extension. It's a beautiful H4 as well. Look. So this is the 10 RSI on the 4. Great level this. Anything below the 20 level on the 4-hour RSI is an extreme sustained move. Looking for a pop back. Don't care whether it does a V-shaped recovery or whether it continues market structure. As long as it does one of those two things, I'm out. Basically, with position trading, the only thing that doesn't get you out of a position trade is a flag. Yeah. So if you have a move that does around about a 38% retracement on the leg, fib, or it pulls back into the breakpoint of previous support, like that, you'll get out 90% of the time. The only thing that stops us getting out of any position that we get into is a flag break, which is a 23 retracement or lower on a fib. So as long as we don't get flag breaks, we're in. If only we knew which ones wouldn't do flag breaks. So pound CAD long at the moment. We got a nice monthly support coming up as well, which we'll probably find some volume at. So what we might get here is that kind of movement. I'm still in my DOW trade. I'm about to get out of it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It's not triggering my stop. Now it has. So pound CAD already in, pound Swiss already covered, pound yen covered, pound New Zealand. Again, no real reason for this to do anything much at the moment. New Zealand are dropping interest rates pretty quick. They have had the highest rates of everybody and the highest sustained rates. They are now dropping quick. As you can see, we've got a 0.5% drop in the New Zealand. We're forecasting a 0.25, so they're dropping quicker. Their unemployment rate is going up, therefore they need to get that down fast. Their inflation is looking all right. So there's no reason why we shouldn't see a little bit of strength coming into that, weakness coming into that New Zealand dollar. But obviously with the budget, that's also weak. So again, it's a week against a week, which means a range. Obviously it will move up and down within that. Yeah. So don't really think there's any reason you can't trade in either direction. You had a lovely 4-hour RSI extension on this week. So if you took an entry on this yesterday, so it got extended there. So anywhere you got in there, obviously you're in profit at the moment. On the hourly, you had an RSI extension yesterday, which was the entry. If you didn't take the first leg, you're in on maybe in on a second leg. That's probably not far enough. Reversal would have been in here somewhere. Yeah, but that's only a quarter of an ADR. So you might be in long on that one already. We got a nice weekly support coming up at 125 ADR for a second leg if it doesn't just pull straight back up into propulsion. Pound US dropping hard. All the US is rallying at the moment. So pound US support coming up down here. So this whole area is, oops, support. Why are you not drawing a second? Oh, I'm pressing shift. That's why you're not drawing a second line. So we've got this nice area here of support. Been respected multiple times, this area. So anything from sort of 80, 90 to 125 ADR today, if it continues to drop, likely to find some limit order triggers down here because we've been buying from this area multiple times when we broke it. So likelihood is it will probably just bounce, though, potentially. It depends what happens with the US. I don't want to get involved. I'm trying not to look at it. NASDAQ, look. Absolutely nothing you can do with this thing today. It's just that was the trade today, the one that I got on. That's it. Everything else is just whipsaw. Whatever you're using as a stop loss, you're stopping out on it. There's nothing you can do with this today unless you're scalping like 5 points or something stupid. Waste of time. So yeah, good support coming up on the pound US dollar for longs. I'm only looking for shorts on it because it's too expensive for me to long. This is one of the ones when if you're using this swap filter, this is one of the ones where I'm like, it's $5.60. Just a little bit expensive, but not massively. So the pound US dollar, I would possibly be interested in longing at the moment, but I want it to be in a decent spot. So the swap filter only applies to automated entries, not the buttons. So RSIs won't trigger, ADRs won't trigger. Button, if it does trigger, it will carry on managing the trade for me. So I will watch what happens in this area for potential bounces. There's quite a drop, as you can see. It's about a 4 to 5 ADR drop all the way back down to the next major support level from there. That's 329 pips. It's 120 ADR. So that is roughly 3 ADR actually, all the way back down to there. And then we've got another one down at the bottom there. Yeah, big strong move at the moment, but looking for a pullback on that leg if it's going to continue to do that. If we are going to remain bullish, which the market structure currently is, we'll be looking for a bounce out of here. But again, the US dollar at the moment, there's nobody really that can tell you what's going to happen because we've got Trump in charge. Or not yet, but we are having Trump in charge. So could go absolutely anywhere. They will buy like crazy, big like. Elon is big on Bitcoin, yeah. Elon's mad. He's got more money than God, isn't he? Basically, he's the richest man on the planet. If he wants Bitcoin to go up, he can buy Bitcoin and Bitcoin will go up just because he buys loads of it. Yeah. If you've got that much money, you can do anything. Literally, you can do anything. If he wants a market to go up, he will just buy everything. Yeah. Same as house prices. If you identified an area of a country that wasn't doing very well, you could just buy all the houses up there. Yeah, and that will immediately raise the prices of the houses because there won't be any stock left, so the house prices go up. Yeah, he's got that much power, and he's been put in charge of cutting costs within the government in the US. Interesting job. We'll see. This is going to be a very, very interesting presidency, isn't it? Glad to finally have a star next to my name. Outro. Yep, you have a blue star. Well done. Welcome to the members' streams. Tom, first loss day on the SIH since going live. It's not a loss day, Tom. Day's not over. You don't get a loss day until the day is done. I am in a hedge on the DAX. I am a hedge on the FTSE. I'm not out yet. It may push down. Yeah. If we get another quarter of an ADR to half an ADR downside on the DAX, I'll probably look to get out of the shorts and see if we can exit and get rid of the hedge on the longs. Same with the FTSE, really. I mean, this is slowing down a bit now. All the markets are quiet today, so it's not really easy. I really like that DOW. I'm scared. I'm going to do it. DOW, I've just taken another short. I'm not down much today, so pre-market high. So I'm just going to see if I can get some limits trigger at the pre-market high. We've found resistance there. So we've got a big, strong rally, which I think is probably going to need exhaustion to push further today if we're going to push up. But yeah, you're not out yet, Tom. Unless you are out, then obviously you're out. But yeah, hedges. This is what hedging is all about. You've got to play currencies off against each other, or instruments off against each other. So if you get one clean break and one hedge, as long as the clean break happens nicely, you will always make more money than you make on the hedge on the clean break. This is a perfect example, the NASDAQ and the Dow today. I've made 545 on the NASDAQ and I only took 2R. Normally I take 3 to 5. Hedged in at 340. So clear profit. The only time you lose with the stock index strategy, hedge strategy, is if you hedge on all instruments. It's very rare that everything hedges because something is always going to break. There's always a stock sector being bought. And this is the beauty of all the indices that we trade. The NASDAQ is tech stocks. The Dow is industrial stocks. The DAX is mainly motor stocks. God, my brokers. Suspected spam again, look. All brokers come up as suspected spam. You got the DAX, which is mainly motor industry stocks, and obviously German. And then you've got the FTSE, which is a lot of financial service stocks. So between the FTSE, the DAX, the Dow, and the NASDAQ, if the stock sector purchasing going on, which there is pretty much every day, one of those indices usually will run. So as long as you get a clean break on one of those indices, there's a high probability of coming out with either a very small loss or a very nice win. If you get a double clean break, you're milking it. And that's why I play the 4 indices, because if you get 2 indices clean break, you can't not make money. If you get one that doesn't have a trade and one that does, it's down to whether or not that hedges. And don't forget, when you get a hedge, it doesn't mean a loss. The whole point of the aggressive hedge exit is to get out of the hedge with a profit. So at the minute, if this comes down to here, I will be taking a long trade to get out of that with at least a break even, if not a nice little profit. So, you know, this is what the strategy is all about. It's about minimizing the amount of trades that you take and minimizing the risk. These indices today are killing me. I'm going to have to stop trading. I'm 380 down. I literally can't get anything right today. One of those days where it doesn't matter which way you press the button, it just goes the opposite direction. Those are the days you have to identify and go, I'm not doing it anymore. That's going to be my 3rd loss of the day, so I'm out. I was positive and I got out. Then I opened up the one-click trader. Yeah. That'll be a problem, over trading. The whole purpose of the SIH strategy is to stop over trading. Yeah, I'm in the DAX this morning. I'm still in the same trade. I'm in the FTSE this morning. I'm still in the same trade. I'm in the Dow. It's been going up and down a lot. Still only in one trade. The NASDAQ, I got out of straight away. This is the whole point of the SIH strategy. It stops you over trading. You can't overtrade if you haven't got out of a trade. Yeah, the only way that you can overtrade is if this thing goes parabolic now and gets up to there within the next hour, I will be out of that and then trading. Other than that, you sit in it and wait. Part of the strategy that I'm going to go through tomorrow in the members streams is a breakout strategy similar to this, that just uses a 2 trade a day mechanism. Same principle, stops you overtrading. If you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. That's it. The problem most people have, and this is where people get killed in prop, is they get in, they get stopped out. They get in, they get stopped out. They get in, they get stopped out. They blow the account, they start again. They get in, they get out. get in, they get out. Some people, and I know this because I was an affiliate with Apex. I still am an affiliate with Apex. I don't promote them, but I was at one point trading with Apex, and I had an affiliate, and I could see the people's orders going through the Apex system for renewals, and I would see people renewing their account multiple times a day because they are blowing it multiple times a day, and it just is this revenge cycle. You go long, 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 blow, reset, long, 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 blow, reset. Yeah, it's one session. They've already blown 3 accounts. Crazy. This, you can't do that because you're in. I'm waiting now for the DOW to do something. If the DOW doesn't do anything today and it does that, I'm going to make that much loss. I can't make any more because it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, that's the difference between the opening range breakout strategy and the stock index hedge strategy. The opening range breakout strategy uses stop losses. So if it goes long and it comes back down and stops you out and goes short and then goes back up and stops you out, you go long. Yeah, you do that 20 times, you're going to blow a load of accounts, aren't you? With SIH, you get in, you wait. If it does that, you can't make money. When you have days like this, you'll find very few traders making money because unless you time this perfect, you're just not going to be able to make money. So you'll find most traders will be watching value area high and value area lows, and they literally just buy the value area low and sell the value area high, and they keep doing that until they're proven wrong. If they can do that 3 or 4 times, they stop. Yeah, if you do it once and you're proven wrong, you flip and reverse, and then you make your money back, and then you decide whether you're going to become a trend trader for the day or you're going to find another resistance to play off of. But most traders that are successful on indices aren't taking many trades. They're waiting. They're using wide stops. Like I'm using a $250 stop on the account I'm using over here, which means I'm still in this short. It's got to go for a good 10 or 15 minutes before I get out of a trade, which means maximum trades I ever take is like 3 to 4 an hour, if that. But most of the time it's 1 or 2 an hour. But with this sort of stuff, obviously if you're pressing buttons you can press as many times as you like. Dow is rejecting your level nicely, hopefully, yeah. It's not going anywhere really, to be honest. It's just sitting there in a minute. But that's a good candle. So sellers aren't letting it through. Let's listen. So New Zealand dollar CAD, we're down at weekly lows at the moment. Again, New Zealand dollar, very difficult to call at the moment. It's kind of neutral. Canadian's going to get dragged with the US. We don't know where the US is going. You could argue Elon was lucky he didn't start Tesla. He didn't start Tesla, didn't he? I thought he was the owner of Tesla. Is he not? He didn't start it. How does that make him lucky? I don't get that, Virginia. Sorry, I don't understand that statement. He's lucky he didn't start Tesla. He did start Tesla. He used all his money from selling PayPal, didn't he? I don't know. I don't really pay much attention, to be honest. I just know he's the richest man on the planet. And he's got spaceships. What more do you want? New Zealand dollar CAD sitting around sideways at the moment. We're down at the weekly lows. Your support to the downside. There's a couple of areas that are pretty decent. 200 ADR and you got 125. So if we do break out of this low, it might go, it might not. At the minute, obviously, we are kind of using an expanding wedge pattern at the moment. So there's a good chance we'll come down here and then try and get back up here. It's not really doing an awful lot of any description. So you can long it or short it, really. Hourly RSI extension you had yesterday. If you, as I do, target propulsion gaps, you're out. 30 So we'll see what happens here. Might break through this level. It's the most frustrating market today. New Zealand dollar Swiss we've covered. Yen we've covered. New Zealand US. Again, same thing with the rest. The US dollar at the moment is very, very strong. We've got a lovely support coming up down here. This is a really strong area. Look. So I'll just draw the one line on it, but you can see it's incredibly supportive down here. Since April this year, we bought that, we bought it, we added, we bought it, we bought it, we're coming back. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we do not get a bounce here. Whether it's a bounce and a collapse or whether it's a retracement starting on this leg, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, what was happening here is not what's happening here. We've got somebody new steering the ship here. Interest rates are in a different place to they were here. Yeah, so we're in a different market right now. So there's no saying it was definitely going to bounce. Here come the sellers. Come on, the sellers. So yeah, I mean, for me at the moment, I'm trading this in either direction with the New Zealand US. So there's a couple of pairs that are like this where I can trade it in either direction with very little cost. This is one of them. And I don't mind taking this either long or short because I think the US dollar is going to move a lot in the coming months. But I don't think it's going to be a parabolic move. I think it's going to be shocked and unshocked and shocked and unshocked a lot more, which means it should be fairly decent to get into on anything, really. But you never can tell. So I'll be trading this in either direction. There's a potential entry today, actually. So if this pushes further today beyond ADR, there's a good chance I might actually get into a long on this today, in which case then I'll be looking for a push back up into propulsion. I love the sound of crickets in the morning. US dollar CAD's broken out the highs. We've hit ADR and it's retraced. So this is very typical of a false breakout. This is an exhaustion move. Yeah. So what this is basically all the short orders flipping long and propelling it. There's usually an exhaustion before a reversal. And this is where we find a 3-bar reversal pattern. Yeah. So we push, we exhaust, and we pull. If you look at this candlestick pattern we've got painting right now on a 4-hour chart, you're seeing this, yeah? So we are forming a long wick, and depending on when this 4-hour closes, we've got 2 hours left on this candle, yeah? If this candle closes like that, and the next candle does that, it's a reversal pattern, exhaustion. So we'll see. This could be the last push out the highs. It could be a breakout forming. Yeah, we just don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. Markets at the moment, you know, everything's a little bit all over the place still from last week, from the elections. So at the minute, it looks like this is very resistive as an area. So we hit it that week. We had the elections, we couldn't get through it. We've pushed up, we've attempted this week. There's been a very strong rejection this week at that level, and today we've just finally pushed through. But we've pushed through on news, on CPI. It may be that there's just nobody else wanting to sell at this level, so all the buyers have gone, screw it, that's the end, and they're out. So we'll see what happens, but this week we'll get the answer as to whether or not this is the top. So after a rally, you tend to get a rounding top. This could be it. Don't want to hear that noise. So US dollar CAD extended on RSI, but this has obviously been pushing for over a month. So this is one of the biggest, strongest moves I've ever seen in the US. The run up to the election, it's been absolutely massive. Kind of what we tend to see sometimes in Santa rallies, but it's too early. Shush. I want to hear the other ones. US dollar Swiss. Let me just turn them off a minute. There we go. What have we just been talking about? Yeah. Trump said to endorse Mike Johnson as the House Speaker. That's not really that impactful, but anything that comes with Trump in front is going to be red. Shush. I'd rather not listen to you if you're going to go bull all the time. So US dollar Swiss, we've got a lovely resistance coming up. Well, I say lovely, it's first resistance. We've got multiple levels basically in this market structure that we could use. That is the lower of the lot. So this is your first test. Double bottom support, yeah, which we couldn't get through. So this was a price discovery failure. We had another go, failed, and we finally broke through it. So we know this is quite resistive, or was quite supportive. Likelihood is it's going to turn resistive. We've got a big strong push that it's like to want to pull back on. How far, we don't know, but obviously everything moves from support to resistance and vice versa. So extension above the highs, same sort of thing. Yeah, looking for a pullback. You've got propulsion gaps there, that high to be tested to the downside. So it's extended on the hourly as well, or rather it was yesterday. It's come out of the RSI extension today, but still sitting around. So this is kind of an M pattern reversal, but we haven't had a reversal alert on it. In fact, we did have a reversal alert. So that was the reversal alert there. So that was your low. We pushed up, made a new high. That was the break in structure. This is the second leg potentially going in. So that'll be your M pattern. But wait and see. Again, 3-bar reversal, push, pause, pull. And it's extended on the hourly and 4 hourly. US dollar yen we've covered. Gold will be going the opposite direction to the US dollar, which is down. There we go. That's everything covered. Stuck. Look, it's just stuck. Got an inside bar forming now, look. Still got 3.5 minutes left on this candle, but we've got an outside bar. So this is reading price action 101. This is the definition of indecision. Yeah. Doji. Inside bar. Outside bar. Inside bar. Make your mind up. Just absolutely no direction. Inside bar is an indecision on the previous price action. Outside bar is an indecision on the previous price action. Inside bar is an indecision on the previous price action. At a level of resistance. Got to say short, haven't you? But we will see. Someone's going to win. Someone's going to lose. At the moment, judging by what the NASDAQ's doing today, it's everybody. Everybody's just going to lose today because it isn't going anywhere. You can't break out. You can't make money on a breakout strategy when the market's not breaking out. Simple as that. I've only been live again for 1 week since, and the SIH absolutely killed it. Cool. Done 7.5%. Wasn't even working 50% of the time. Brilliant. Yeah. You're going to find that with the SIH strategy. With the ORB strategy and the SIH strategy, it can be frustrating at times because it is a breakout strategy and it's based on momentum breakout. If you don't get momentum breakout, you don't make money. It's as simple as that. So today on the DAX, I had an opportunity to profit. We had a clean break long up to 1 hour. That took an hour and a half. Yeah. So this dotted line you can see here, that's the 1.5 hour line, which is usually where you find the high or the low of the day put in. We hit that 1.5 hour line and it paused for 20 minutes. And then we finally pushed up and pulled back down. It was at that point I went, this is probably going to reverse. Just wasn't enough money to take, so I didn't take it. What I should have done obviously is just taken it and gone, screw it, I'll take 70, 80 pound, whatever it was, you know, and looking for pullback long off of these highs, and it did try, but it failed. But that's because there's no momentum. Yeah, less than a 1 hour push on the initial opening range within an hour and a half is not momentum. Yeah, that's just nothing, is it? So it's just it's one of those strategies that can be incredibly frustrating when you get rotational markets. And, you know, we're getting a lot of rotational markets at the moment. Yeah, that looks like a nice clean. That was a nice clean break. Killed it yesterday. Killed it yesterday on the Nasdaq as well. Yesterday's Nasdaq trade was beautiful. I got out way too early. So there was a long trade, and then it hedged. Where did it hedge? There. So it hedged me there. I exited the shorts there, the longs there rather, and the shorts I got out of. I think I got out of the shorts there, and then it collapsed. You know, double basically the TP. But that and that is profit. Yeah. Same as today. Nice clean break. But this is what everybody says, you know, constantly being asked, what's the best set file? What's the best target? How do you set your targets? It's always going to be levels of previous support and resistance, because the reason that went from there was because that's where the buyers are buying from. When we get back to that level, the buyers are going to buy again. Whether or not they win that battle is irrelevant. We will get a bounce. So if you've got money, take the money when the bounce is going to happen. If it blows through it and goes to 5R, it blows through it and goes to 5R. Doesn't matter, I've made money. That's what it's about. It's about taking the profit, not about getting everything right. I'm sitting now in the Dow doing absolutely nothing because it's going absolutely nowhere. I'm not in control of whether or not my trade is profitable. The market is in control of where it goes. I get in because I'm seeing a level that might reject. If it doesn't reject, I lose money. But I lose $250. If it pops down, I make $750. Simple maths. I can't control where it goes. All you can do is look at where it's been and look at where the other party took control. Look at where the other party took control. And when you get back there, assume that the other party are going to at least have a go at taking control. If they have a go at it and don't win, and it does that, at least I can break even and not lose. If they do win, I win. This propulsion move, they bought it again. Yeah, that's why I got out the Nasdaq, because we hit the previous level. It's just, again, I covered this yesterday in the members stream. We had quite a long session in the members stream yesterday. I think it was 2 hours or something. Too long, most people will probably say. Yeah, 2 hours 15. But the second half of yesterday's stream was me waffling because somebody asked a question about how to get out of trades and how you target trades. And for me, it's very, very simple. The market moves up and down. That's all it does. So if I get in long and the market starts to move in my direction, it's going to move either like that or it's going to move like that. There's only two things that happen. It's either going to V-shaped recovery and test the origin of the move, or it's going to be a market structure short. So if it's going to be a market structure short and I get in long at a good point, I'm looking for where it's going to turn. It's going to turn at where they sold it, which is here. This is why this indicator is on the chart. It shows you where the price action is, where the buyers and the sellers are. Yeah. If that happens, I don't care. I get out there anyway. And it's exactly the same in stock indices. All the indices, all markets are the same. Markets are markets. It doesn't matter whether you're trading indices, commodities, whether you're trading, gold, oil, corn, hog. I was going to say hog roasts then. They don't trade hog roasts. It'd be quite hot. Forex, Bitcoin, everything. All a market is people that want to do one thing and people that want to do another thing meeting. And at some point, these guys will overpower these guys and the market will go down. If these guys haven't got out, when the market comes back up again, they'll get in again because they're in profit and they'll make it go down again. And then they'll get out. And then it will go up because these guys have got out and they're probably going to get on board with these guys because they're out of their trade now and they know it's not going to go down anymore. That's all it does. So all you've got to do is look at where price has been. That tells you where it's likely to go again. Yeah, we pushed up, we pushed down, we pushed up, we pushed down, we pushed up, we pushed down. But it's never going to be exact. So the Dow I'm in at the moment, because it's roughly around where they sold it last time, which is roughly around here. Roughly around here. I'm getting roughly around here and I'm giving it some room to breathe. You can't do anything else. I have no control over whether that makes money or not. I cannot give you a strategy that will say that's the best place to get in. This is the best indicator to use. There is no such thing. You get in, you use risk, and you apply a risk mechanism to price, because price just moves. Time, binary movement. That's all you got. We covered that quite a lot yesterday in the live room, didn't we? For those that were there, or those that watched the replay. Tesla Inc. was founded by American entrepreneurs Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning in 2003. Elon Musk joined the company as an early investor and later became CEO. Yeah. But then it's good that he's bought it, isn't it? Because he's turned it into what it is today. Mr. Tesla invented direct current electrical system, but Mr. Edison made money out of it. Yes, I know. He was naughty, wasn't he? So if you know Elon, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Find something in its infancy, invest in it, take over the company, and take credit. Someone else we know did that. Mr. Zuckerberg, I believe his name is. He didn't invent Facebook. 2 of his college mates did, and he went, I'll have that, and ran off with it. Always the way. Right, so that's all I've got for you today. So we've got some RSI extensions forming now. So there is some opportunities to get in. So we've got some decent extensions starting to form for some pullbacks. For me, second entries. So we're getting in a second long at ADR today if we do break out of this low. But, you know, if we don't, we'll pull back. Stuck. Totally stuck. These are the trades that drive you mental. Look, it's just where you get this price action where it's just wicks. This is where I got all my John Wick memes from. Yeah, this is what this market's all about. It's just Mr. Wick. Oh, now I'm going to get stopped out. So if we're going long today, it's got a hell of a long way to go. I mean, if you see the price action that we've got so far in the first hour and a half today, I would suggest that that is your low of the day. So we're going to come probably back up and maybe retest that area if we're going to break long. We're going to find some resistance there, which is only 2R on the break today. So there's an opportunity to get out at 2R and take a potential exit. Obviously, that is that part of yesterday's price action. That's the latter half of yesterday's session in US, which is the previous. See what I mean about support resistance? I don't make this up. It's a thing, yeah? That is going to get that. Or that. Or that. Or that. Or that. But it's going to get a reaction because this is a point that they are buying and selling. This is a point that they are buying. When we get back there, the people that bought this and flipped short will be short at that level and they will sell it again. Whether they win or lose doesn't matter, but they will add to those positions. This is why the price moves up and down in the way that the price moves up and down. This previous area you can't see behind my head. This previous area here that we were hitting our head on and we finally broke through it, we came back and tested. And because we broke long and bought it there, we bought it again. It's all this, it's happened for decades, centuries even, and it will continue to happen because this is how markets work. Rejection, but not really direction. Come on, I could kind of do with getting $389 back this afternoon. Nasdaq's coming down, so is the S&P 500 as well. So again, acceleration in price, sell it, sell it, sell it. This is where the sellers are today. So sell it. Don't fight the market. Go with the market. If the momentum is selling from a level, sell it from the level. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, where's it going? Back down to this area here where we bought it, or back down to here where they bought it. So if you're getting short here with that tiny little stop on it, that's your reward. But let that play out. This is the beauty of the SAH strategy and why I love it so much, because you sit in the trade and you wait. I am in the DAX. I'm still in the DAX from this morning. I'm in the DAX. I'm in the NASDAQ. And I'm not in the NASDAQ. I'm in the DAX and the FTSE. And I'm still in the DAX and the FTSE because it's just about managed to get 3R to the downside. That's it. Hasn't managed to go anywhere today. So I'll just sit there and I won't trade anymore. Stops me making all those over trading decisions, which makes you lose all of your money. The more times you press that button, the more times you get it wrong, the more times you'll increase that risk to try and get your money back and lose more money. And that's what happens. It's a spiral. If you stop yourself doing it by using a strategy like this, you don't overtrade. If you don't overtrade, you don't lose money. Simple, isn't it? In theory, he says, about to be stopped out on his 4th of the day. Crap day today across the board. But yesterday I made 1,400. Today I've lost 389. Swings and roundabouts. 589 I will have lost by the time this stops out. But it's not stopped out yet. It's one of those trades that's just going on forever. Which is, there we go. Literally, my stop is about there. There. Right, I'll leave it there today. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be back in tomorrow morning for the live room for the members stream. So we're going to look at the strategy that somebody posted yesterday, which was that Japanese yen trend type thing, which I've built. And to be honest, I can't quite get my head around how on earth you'd find an equity curve that goes up on it. I've tested over the time period that he tested over, the guy that did it. I don't get those results. Either I'm doing the strategy wrong or he hasn't explained the strategy properly or fully. So we'll look at it. We'll look at the results of the other strategies that we're working on at the moment, which are going fairly well. And I've got the new breakout strategy, or breakout EA, I should say, that I'm using for a time-based strategy that I'm working on for Forex. So we'll look at that and come up with some ideas on that, and probably be able to give you the EA to test that a little bit over the weekend. And then Friday is the normal 8 o'clock session, trading DAX and the NASDAQ. So those are the rest of the week. All right, so have a good week. Fingers crossed if you're short US dollar positions. It's pulling back nicely at the moment, but we need it really back down below there tomorrow. And that will be a proper exhaustion rejection. So watch that 4-hour candle. Hour and 30 left on that. If we pull back below yesterday's high, that is rejection. Yeah, this is yesterday's high sellers stopping that order. So this could come down sharpish from there. But we'll see. Certainly looking like rejection at the moment, isn't it? But kind of want a little bit more. Right. Have a good day. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Discord. Other than that, if you're coming into the member streams, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. If not, I will hopefully see you on Friday. Have a good day.